Hello, everyone. Good morning on this fantastic Saturday morning. My name is Luisa Wójtowicz-Waga, and I would like to welcome you on this Saturday on which we are going to be talking to you about big goals and first steps, motivation and preparation to exams. Thank you very much for joining us today. And today we are going to have three fantastic sessions that Donation has prepared in cooperation with the British Council. We are going to have three wonderful British Council speakers. And without further ado, I would like to welcome Bartosz Brzoza. Bartosz is here with us. Hello, Bartosz.
Hello, good to see you.
Just please let us know if you can hear everything well, because we have had a small technical issue here, but I think it is concerned more with me than with Bartosz. So please just let us know if you can hear Bartosz well. Bartosz has been involved in the, let's say, market of language exams for a very, very long time. And there are very few experts that can equal Bartosz, and I'm extremely happy and proud to everything is fine. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Sylvia. To welcome Bartosz again in an event that we share with the British Council. Okay, so I'm going to hide myself. First of all, Bartosz, your slides. And I will be listening to your session from our backstage. And of course, if there are any questions, then please ask them in the comment section, and I will be very happy to answer them. In the meantime, thank you very much. Have a fantastic session, and I will see you at around 9:45. Thank you, Bart.
Hello everybody, and thanks, Luisa, for this generous introduction. I will hope to live up to expectations of everybody. So welcome everybody. It's good morning to you. I'm very happy that you decided to join me for this early session, and I hope everybody can hear me well, because as Luisa mentioned, we had like small trouble, but I guess as you're commenting, dzień dobry, hello. So I guess everything's fine. That's good. Okay, so the topic of the first session in today's conference is about mistakes in exams, especially in productive skills. I will be devoting this presentation to mistakes, errors of students in productive skills at various exams. I will be mostly concentrating on Cambridge exams and IELTS, but I will also remark on Matura. So there are various similarities between Cambridge exams and Matura, between IELTS and Matura, and I will be making some remarks. And even if you teach only towards Matura, for instance, just at the school, I'm sure you will find something too. And I will hope that I will give you some ideas for preparing easy and not really time-consuming tasks. And that will help your students avoid mistakes, and that will help you to teach so that the mistakes can be eradicated. Okay, so the plan for today, first I'm going to concentrate on speaking. I will delineate some of the errors that students make, and I will try to help you and help your students to avoid them. Then I will concentrate on writing and the errors found in writing tests. And also at the end, I'm going to present a little bit the tool that will help you that will help your students and you as an administrator of the teaching process with writing, which is called Write and Improve by Cambridge. So this is the plan for today. And before we move on, this will be mostly me speaking. Obviously, if you have some questions later on, I will be happy to address some of your concerns, questions. I will try to find answers if you have any doubts, for instance. But Nevertheless, have a look at some of the questions that we have here, and there will be some questions throughout the conversation, throughout the presentation for your consideration. So please reflect on your class, on the context of your teaching, make sure that this is relevant to you, and always think about, okay, how this happens in my classroom. Do my students have the same problem? Perhaps they are better here, but they have some different problems, and we can discuss them later on at the end of the presentation. Okay, so what are your observations for speaking? Think about the most common mistakes your students make. Think about the errors that reoccur during classes over and over again. You're always talking about something, about avoiding something, but somehow it's still problematic. So think about all these things, reflect on your practice, and I'm going to show you my ideas, and the ideas are obviously motivated by the results of the exams at British Council, and also by observing what our students do, for example, in the Language Teaching Center. So first of all, people don't know what to talk. Yeah, and this is the problem. This is the problem not just with the students at the lower proficiency level, but this is also the problem with advanced students. They don't know what to talk. They sometimes speak, for too little of a time. They just want to say a sentence and be done, get it over with. If you think about our Polish context, because I believe that majority of us here are Polish, so if you think about Polish students, you will hear frequently the question, nawet po polsku nie wiem jak to powiedzieć, right? So the students would switch into Polish and say, I don't know what to say. Just, in life, I wouldn't know what to say. So this is exactly the problem of many exam candidates. And here you can see the IELTS Speaking Task 2. On the left, there is a candidate task card with IELTS Speaking Task 2. IELTS Speaking Task 2 is the one in which you have to develop a coherent narrative about some common theme. The theme you have on the left, and so you have to, in order for your answer to be successful, refer to particular points, talk about them, add to them to form this coherent narrative. If you think about our Polish context, this is very much similar to Matura. The first task at the oral Matura, in which you have the clouds, let's put it this way, that students have to talk about in a conversation with the examiner. Also, at lower levels, egzamin ósmoklasisty, the 8th grade exam, this is the similar context, and the task will be similar here. And what you can see here at IELTS is that this should be a full 2-minute task. Basically, in the guidelines towards IELTS, it's considered between, the instruction says this, that this candidates should speak between 1 and 2 minutes. Most of them, maybe not most of them, but many of them will stop about a minute after they have started. So this is obviously insufficient, because this does not exhaust all the options that they can talk about. They obviously can answer all these 4 points. So in this card here on the left, where you got it from, something that you own, which is very important to you, where you got it from, how long you have had it, what you see, what you use it for, and why it is important to you. Okay, they may have answered this, but this is not enough. This is not the coherent narration about a topic. This is not the whole story. And then we as examiners have to use the so-called rounding off questions. And rounding off questions, the prompts, so to say, they put the learner at a disadvantage, because they mean, if they have to be used, that the students do not provide enough input, and we have to ask for additional input. Yeah. So this is obviously what we struggle with, and I would like to give you the idea for overcoming this problem, because this is simply the problem of not knowing what to say, or sometimes not knowing what vocabulary to use, perhaps. And for both these problematic areas, you can practice with students at the IELTS context, or for example in the context of Matura, the first task from the oral part, you can divide your group of students into 4, because we have 4 points here to mention. We have 4 points to mention at Matura, and you can ask them to generate ideas. For each group receives one area, one question in this case. So where you got it from, how long you have had it, and so on and so on. And you separate them, you ask them to generate ideas. You can ask them to generate vocabulary in the area. And then together, after such a brainstorm, you take all the options, you think about, enhancing and the whole production of the task. And then selected students, for example, can produce the whole stretch, can say the whole bit, can answer the question, really. So this is how you can show them that the planning is very much important. And by the way, at IELTS, they have time for preparation. They have 1 minute for preparation. By dividing them and asking them to generate, to brainstorm these, together with vocabulary as well, because vocabulary will be needed here, this helps them overcome this fear of, oh, I don't know what to say. No, okay, we are planning this, we do this as a task, and then we can take something from it and do it as a full task. And later on at the exam, for instance, they know what to do, especially since they have this time for preparation. I'm glad that Sylvia says that this is a great idea. Please use it. Tell me, I'll try to, share later on somehow how it worked out in your class. This works really, really well with young students as well. Then, sometimes there is speaking. Students speak, but speaking is too simple or too simplistic, I should put, too short. And especially at exams like IELTS, we need to provide some language in order to get the higher grades. And mostly when students take IELTS, which is the test that they need for example, international studying, they need to arrive at higher bands, at the greater grades. So this is obviously not enough. And there is a common situation. Again, we as examiners, we observe. There is a question, for instance, and this is the question from the Cambridge Qualifications B2 first exam. Part 1 questions, the easy warming up questions. Is there something new you'd really like to learn or to learn about? Yeah, and why? This is an easy question if you think about it, a simple one. And even at advanced level, B2 is, after all, quite an advanced level. The answer frequently is just physics. Is there something new you'd really like to learn about? Physics. Or about physics, yeah? If a student is, ambitious, sometimes we can hear, I would like to learn about physics, which is the attempt of a whole sentence, and this is still better, yeah? But what we look at in this part of B2 exam is something like you see in the right bottom corner. I would really like to learn more about physics, so full sentence answer for the question, and then some development to it, to show vocabulary, to show the grammar. I grew very much interested in this subject at school. I like a lot how physics describes how the world works. And I'm sure that practically all B2 students are able to produce such a stretch. Yeah, this is not rocket science, but they have to be somewhat instructed. They have to be given the idea of what they can do, and not just to rely on their own imagination of what they can say, and sometimes they want to say something more, but they just have a blackout. Yeah, so you can give them the simple instruction that in whatever answer to such easy questions, such simple questions, maybe let's put it this way, they should strive at answering them in 3 parts: the what, the why, and the comment, in order to get as much from the question as possible. And have a look, the what is marked in red, the why is marked in green, and the comment is marked in orange in this utterance, utterance that has been provided here in the on the right hand side. I would really like to learn more about physics. So this is the what. I grew very much interested in this subject at school. So this is the why. Why do you want to learn? Because I grew interested in this one, so I want to learn more. And then the comment, some additional thing about it. For example, I like a lot how physics describes how the world works. Yeah, this is very much doable for B2 learner. But again, you can divide, maybe it doesn't require dividing the students into groups, but whenever they have questions like these, whenever you practice speaking with them as a sort of pre-speaking preparation phase, you can ask them to think about the what, the why, and the comment, and then make sure that they know that it should, follow up on the previous one. So we start with the what, then we go with the why, and then the comment. And after realizing by the students that this is a full answer, this is what is required from them, this is what helps them in achieving better grade, this is very, very much what they can do and what will help them at all the exams and basically in life, because sometimes we need more than just physics, to answer a question in order to have some sort of conversation which is more engaging. Yeah, some other common problems: not having an opinion at all. And I believe that your students frequently say, oh, no idea what to say, I don't have any opinion on this, especially, or even advanced students fall into this trap. Yeah, so you can talk with them and you can teach them some hedging, delaying tactics, like, okay, let me think on this topic, on this issue, and they are still answer this question, but without just getting stuck, without just not producing anything. They are as if considering, as if thinking aloud about the case. And this, again, helps them. This works to their advantage, because the examiner at the exam can think about, can already think about what the level of language is that they are preparing. And also these techniques help them to stay in the discourse, not just being silent for a moment and think as they think about these cases. So this is one thing. Also, they can think about giving the opinion from different perspectives. If you remember some writing questions, they are frequently construed, okay, some people like this, some people like this, what's your opinion? This is the frequent formulation of the writing tasks. You can, or they can think about it in the speaking, and you can teach them to, okay, try to give this idea of some people, try to give this idea, the opposite idea from some other people, and then try to somewhat verify the two and respond then with a greater ease what your opinion is, or what opinion you tend to agree with more. If they don't find the relevant vocabulary, which is also a common problem from the observations of examiners, well, make them paraphrase the case, make them describe the thing or define the thing, rather than just getting stuck, which frequently they do. And this is obviously the common mistake of the student. It's better to be less proficient in your answer, but still get the message across, than to completely fail at communicating. Yeah. So paraphrasing or describing the concept, this is still good. This is not bad, and obviously this is better than not saying anything, than getting stuck. Okay. With more advanced students, sometimes they speak well. They formulate the quite extended stretches of responses, but everything is very much similar to one another. They lack synonyms. Yeah, you can also relate that frequently for students everything is nice, everybody looks good, and so on and so forth. There are many ideas that they have, but they can't really use varied vocabulary to talk about them. And at each exam, Cambridge exams, IELTS exams, Matura, obviously, what we are looking for is also the richness of vocabulary. Yeah? Bogactwo językowe in the Polish categories of the Polish state exams. With Cambridge exams, with IELTS, it's called vocabulary or lexical resource, and then the richness is one of the factors in the criteria. So this is obviously very much important. And if you look at these two stretches, of answers about the question, what do you usually do on vacations? You can see here very much repetitive vocabulary. Yeah, so I relax a lot, I swim, and then I swim more, I read, and if I get tired, I read again later, and so on and so forth. Yeah, or if somebody's going to the beach, it's just going to the beach. There is no use of other vocabulary which is related, like see, like there you go. It's difficult to come up with examples at the spot, but obviously we have to train students to do so. Yeah, all the vocabulary that can be varied here is not really varied, and frequently it will be just produced like this. And this is obviously not something that I want. What can we do? You can ask them, you can ask your students to do the task with the person next to you. You can take, or you can ask, I don't know, ChatGPT now to generate you the answer to any question with a sort of repeated language, with a lot of synonyms, etc. And you can introduce the gaps in the place of all these repetitions in which synonyms would likely to be used. So you can ask the students to do the task in pairs, and ask them to find either the verbs or the nouns, as per the example on the right, that could fill the gaps. Yeah, and make sure that they do not repeat, rather use synonyms. Sometimes they might want to use a word which is not really synonymous, but is a little bit different, but still this fits the context and is not just the repetition of a previous phrase. Yeah, so try to give them the utterances that are generated like these, that seem to be their responses, their frequent responses, with all the problems, with all the repetitions, with lack of synonyms, and make them reflect on these mistakes. Students are very good at spotting things when they are given, for example, a stretch of their writing, their speaking, etc. Even if they can't produce something well, properly, when they are met with what they produced, frequently they will spot it easily. And then thinking explicitly on the synonyms or the lack of synonyms in the text and finding ones, this is obviously something that will help them to generate better examples, better stretches, better utterances in the future. Again, a question for you to reflect on: can your students manage this task? Would they arrive at options, different options, more synonymous ones? How many of these for one gap? Will it be more than one or just one? Think about all these questions before doing the task. But this task is one of the exercises that really helps for the lack of language to use, for the lack of synonyms. Yeah, so I suggest you try it. Okay, let's move over. This works obviously with ambitious students, or over-ambitious, as I put it here. And we as examiners, we frequently hear from higher proficiency students something like this. So the other end of the spectrum, so to say. On vacations, I like to kick back and take it easy. I usually hit the beach to catch some rays and let my hair down, and so on and so forth. Instead of eating, I'll grab a bite because I'm as hungry as a horse, and so on. And I'm sure you'll agree with me that this is the other side of the story. This is simply a natural language, yeah? And if you see that your student is a very ambitious one, and they want to provide as much vocabulary as possible, they want to impress the examiners with idioms, with unusual collocations, make sure to verify with them if this is really natural, yeah? Because you will agree with me that this text is not natural, that this is not the English conversation of native speakers, for instance. So make sure to do the same task with the opposite direction, so to say, maybe not by repeating everything, but trying to just curb the use of idioms, infrequent collocations, and so on, to make the speech more natural. So unnaturality of speech, this is another problem, as you were able to observe. Okay, for speaking, one more thing, which is very, very problematic and which works to disadvantage of your students, is ignoring the partner at the exam. For Cambridge qualifications B1, C2, B2, B1, and C2, sorry, the criteria are as follows: grammar and vocabulary, discourse management, pronunciation, and interactive communication. So this is what we as examiners look at in order to assess your student. We assess them in all these 4 categories. And here, if your students are ignoring the partner, they lose marks for interactive communication. So we as examiners, we have to give lower scores for interactive communication, because, okay, just speaking is communication, but it's not interactive communication. Communication involves both speaking but also listening. So combine these two when you work with your students to make sure that they not only produce the language, which is obviously important, but they also listen to the language produced by others. Have a look at this real interaction from exam. This is the question from C1, I believe. Do people of different ages have different interests? And the answer of the candidate number 1 is no, I don't think this is true. For example, I like solving crosswords, so I have similar interest to my grandmother, who is 65 and I am 14. So I think that you can sometimes have the same interest as somebody of different age. This is a good answer for this question. But if you think about it, then the student loses the good impression that they made when the examiner says, thank you. And then they turn to candidate 2. Do you agree? And the candidate 2 does not respond at all. So the impression, the good impression is lost, but not for candidate 1, obviously, but for candidate 2. The candidate 2 does not respond anything. They are in awe, and the answering this question, do you agree, involves obviously listening to what's being said in order to agree with it or not. So this is when they fail in commenting, in producing. Okay, ambitious students, they dominate the discussion. So this is also a common mistake. And again, that affects interactive communication score badly and negatively. So here, I would like you to reflect: what expressions will you teach and ask your students to use to ensure this sort of equal distribution in the discussion and smooth turn taking? Remember, just saying things for the candidate will not give them maximum points. They also have to signal turn taking, ask for opinions, ask for agreeing or disagreeing, and so on. So make sure to refresh with your students all these expressions for turn taking that you know from Matura, that you know from preparation towards the exams. And again, try to make them use them naturally, because again, if they are just present, this is not good English, this is not good and natural language. If they are used naturally, then that's the other story. Okay, so about speaking, about the speaking skills at exams, this is the area we as examiners and teachers as British Council find most problematic. And obviously there will be more, and I'm sure if you reflect on your students, you will be able to think about more areas for mistakes, more areas that your students are very susceptible to make a mistake at. But now let's turn to writing. So again, a question for you to reflect: what are your observations? Think about the think about the nature of the mistakes of students. Are they similar to speaking? Are they maybe different to speaking? Think about the context of your class. And let me show you what we have at British Council. First of all, when examiners check the written forms of the students, written tasks, they frequently find that they are either not referring to task, they are not referring to task fully by not referring to the notes that they have, or they do not present their own idea, which also they are asked to do. Here you have an example of a task on the left from Cambridge Qualifications B2 First. This is writing part 1, and writing part 1 is an essay. You must answer this question. In your English class, you have been talking about education. This is obviously an example. Now your English teacher has asked you to write an essay for homework. This is a standard task. Write your essay using all the notes, and you can see all in bold, and giving reasons for your point of view. So we already have signaled here that they have to use all the notes, and they have to also introduce their point of view, which is frequently still not done. So we have to explicitly tell our students to do this. And when we ask them to write, we also have to make sure that they do it. And if they don't, we have to be very, very explicit about it. Again, as I told you before, students are good at noticing when they are shown their own work. If they, for example, do not include all the points, all the notes, and again, Matura, writing, I guess this is also task 1 for writing, yeah? When they have to respond by referring to all the points. This is very much the case. They have to use all the notes, they have to respond to all the points. If they don't do it, they don't get enough question for task achievement, yeah? This is the criterion at Cambridge, for instance. And you have the context. So some parents teach their children at home rather than sending them to school. Is this a good or a bad thing for the children? And you have notes. Write about having a parent as a teacher. So students have to think about this situation and consider it. Making friends. So going to school as opposed to not going to school and just being taught at home in the context of making friends. And then obviously one more idea. Yeah. So how to tell your students that actually what they have is in the task. Almost everything is the task. Yeah, the notes here are supposed to help them. They are supposed to give candidates scaffolding and help generate these ideas. So whenever you work with your students on a writing task, again, you can divide them into various settings. I very much like for productive skills, for both writing and for speaking, as you were able to notice in the first part. I like dividing students, and I like to generate them idea in subsets, in smaller groups, in subgrouping. Make sure you do this case, because then they consider they read the notes as something very much tangible, more tangible if it's just one per group, and then they exchange or they, talk about the ideas in the forum, in public. They realize that the notes are there to help them. They are there, and they already form the basis for writing. And before the writing, obviously, there is time for thinking about these ideas. I am also going to concentrate on a process of writing, not just on the tasks themselves. So you will be able to see how important planning is in the whole bit. And again, we as teachers, we know this, yeah, but our students don't, and they have to be explicitly shown, explicitly told this. When it comes to your own idea, from what examiners, written examiners say, frequently they repeat previous points. So they are somewhat related to the notes, and this is obviously not good. Sometimes they are omitted at all. Yeah, you have to present your own idea. This is one of the points. It's not, optional. You have to give your point of view. You have to give your idea. So students have to be explicitly told this. Okay, when it comes to writing, I will show you one more task from IELTS this time, IELTS writing task 1. As you can see here, IELTS writing task 1, if you happen to work with this test, you'll know that this is about data description, some description of a data, of a statistic, of a table, of a graph, and all these figures that you have to make sure to write about what this is all about, the main features from the graph. Also, what you have to do here is that you have to create a coherent narration of this data, but just stating what they are about, not interpreting this. And when I work with IELTS candidate, frequently they will interpret this. So, but before I go to interpretation, let me concentrate on not doing what's supposed to be done. So what students have to do in writing task 1 at IELTS is selecting, reporting on their selections or on the selected items, comparing if necessary, and summarizing. Yeah, and they have to do it in 150 words minimum, and they should take about 20 minutes. So not a lot for this. And so first of all, you have to state the main features of a graph, not everybody, but the main features. And then what you have to do is you have to present some figures. If you don't present some figures, and in writing task 2, so the essay, if you don't present your opinion for the essay, you won't get a band more than 5. And obviously we need, students need more if they, for example, think about the international studying. International universities abroad, they need at least 6. Yeah, this is the average. And for some universities, it can be 7, 7.5 on the scale from 1 to 9. So obviously they need to have more than 5. If they don't provide the figures to prove their point, the figures are obviously on the graphs, on the statistics. They won't get more than 5. So make sure to show them these are the figures, make sure that they include them. And also make sure that they don't interpret and they don't even over-interpret, which sometimes they do. To illustrate this, I'm showing you this statistic from IELTS writing task 1. Here we have some countries and how much they spend on some categories. And then from this table, you can deduce what or how much disposable income inhabitants of these countries have after they pay for these categories like food, drinks, clothing, etc. And it happens so that the least amount of money that stays after paying for these is in Turkey, and the vast proportion, the majority of the funds, disposable funds, is in Sweden. So they happen to have the most, the biggest amount of money at their disposal. Yeah. So the frequent interpretation of students is that Turkey is a bad country to live, Sweden is a very good country to live. And while it may be the case, we don't know, it might be so, this is not what the data show us. The data show us just how much money they have left in Sweden, in Turkey, and in some other countries. So this is what we have to make sure our students know, that this is what they should write, this is what they should conclude from the data, and not that it's good to live in Sweden, because it might be the case, but it's not the case in the data. We can't see it in the data, and what's not in the data, then it's not what should be in the task. Make sure your students know it. For IELTS writing task 2, just as I told you with not stating the figures, not referring to figures to get more than 5, here, if they don't state their opinion clearly in the introduction, in the conclusion for sure, in the introduction, it's already a good place to mention it. They also won't get more than 5 at writing task 2. Have a look at some examples of IELTS essay tasks or writing task 2. And for each context, for each question, there is what is your opinion? Do you agree or disagree? To what extent do you agree or disagree part? And they have to make sure to handle this. All these problems, when it comes to writing, because they are obviously problems in language skills and not in language per se. They are not grammar problems, they are not vocabulary problems. Obviously, there are also these sort of problems at the exams, but here we are concerned with skills, productive skills. So we are concentrating on this side of the phenomenon. So all these problems can be actually excluded or at least limited when we plan writing well. And you have to train with your students, planning, then some sort of narrowing of the topic, narrowing of ideas, targeting the most important points, not writing about everything, organizing everything that you thought about, and then drafting, evaluating, editing, and rewriting. If you think about the process, we may teach this and we may show our students that it's important to plan, then it's important to narrow the thing down, and etc. But you will agree with me, I'm sure, that frequently students start with drafting. Sometimes they evaluate, they might not rewrite or edit at all. So frequently they will start with drafting and then maybe some sort of evaluation. Yeah, they have to go through the whole process. They have to plan, then critically look at what they planned, then organize this into the writable, so to say, idea, and then obviously drafting and enhancing your draft. And to help address this, there is a very good tool from Cambridge that I would like to present to you. It's called Write and Improve. I won't have time, unfortunately, to take you online and show it in practice, but I very strongly encourage you to try it and to experiment with it. Writeandimprove.com. It's free for individual use. If you want to use it as part of a class to give students writings and then have some sort of automated feedback, then you have to buy it. You have to buy a plan. But for individual work with your students, is completely free. And Write and Improve is the program which offers students the opportunity to practice a lot of different topics from real exams. You choose the level, you choose the type of exam, so it can be B1 preliminary, B2 first, etc. It can be IELTS. It doesn't have Polish Matura, but you can find that many tasks from Matura can be a little bit related to B2 first. So you can look at this if you teach in this context. You or your student choose the topic, then they write. So they have a once you've chosen, you have a field to write the response to the task, and after a moment, you click on check, you click on assess, and then you have the automated feedback, which is done by the use of algorithms. So you have some automated feedback, and the feedback already tells you, highlights you the most problematic areas, something which is not good with grammar, something which is not good with structure. It also deals with structure. This is really helpful. Then it also gives you an estimated grade, a grade on the 1 to 5 scale. And as you write more and more on this platform, it also plots your progress over time. So this is a really good tool. And if your students want to use it, they obviously get some information which might be helpful for them. But if you decide to use it with your students and set this as homework, for example, and then you also get the detailed feedback, and you can interpret it well as a teacher, and then concentrate on the most problematic areas in classroom. So this is a great tool. When it comes to saving time, it really saves time because it is automated, and it provides you, a report. It gives you a very good estimate that you can work with later on. Okay, so basically that's the end of what I wanted to tell you about. Please explore more. Please have a look at these, at the Write and Improve tool. Think about the task ideas that I gave you. Try to do this with your class. And obviously today it's just just 45 minutes from me and 2 more from my honorable colleagues from British Council, Piotr and Basia. But I would like to invite you on behalf of British Council to Saturday morning webinars for teachers with British Council. And you have a couple of more dates plotted here, and you have a link. Good luck with your teaching to help students avoid mistakes. If you have any questions connected with teaching, connected with British Council Advantage program, here you have some contact data. Thanks a lot for your attention. And I'm
Bartosz, I'm sorry. I know that you prefer to be called Bartosz. I'm very sorry about that. Bartosz, your timing is incredible.
tried. Yeah, I did my
Your
best.
timing is, I think we should all take example. Congratulations. The session was extremely interesting, very helpful. I can see lots of thank yous flying in our comment section. I'm going to hold you for a moment if you don't mind, because there might be a question flying in. So I will be just reading all the thank yous for your informative session and the wealth of knowledge. Well, you are extremely knowledgeable. That is so true.
Thank you so much. But I'm sure all the teachers who join webinars at 9 a.m. on a Saturday, they are also very knowledgeable, and they don't have to really think about that.
Yeah, I can say that we are extremely lucky with teachers joining us. We only have fantastic teachers. We don't have non-fantastic teachers. We have only fantastic teachers joining us, which I'm sure you know, because this is not the first time that you have been with us here.
That's right.
Okay, so thanks. Thank yous. I do not see questions. So if anyone is still holding a question somewhere deep in their minds, please take a note of the email address. And Bartek, Bartosz, I'm sorry. I'm so used to it. I am so sorry, but I'm trying to do my best. So I think I'm going to say goodbye. Is this the end of your working Saturday?
I'm working tomorrow, but for today it's already
okay, all right. So enjoy your Saturday. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, everyone, and now we have got a break until 9:55, and after the break, another fantastic person that I can see already in our backstage. Basia Szybowska has already joined us. So at 9:55, please come back, have a lovely coffee, and I will join you in about 8 minutes together with Basia Szybowska, who will be, I'm sure you will see, as knowledgeable as Bartosz, because they are a fantastic team. Okay, thank you very much. Enjoy your break, and see you in a couple of minutes.
Learning English and taking life-changing exams with the British Council opens the door to opportunity. These opportunities mean people can study and work abroad and make new connections and unlock their potential. When we speak the same language, share new ideas, and celebrate different perspectives, we create a chain reaction that sparks innovation and progress. Working with governments and our partners in the education sector, we help around 4 million people across 200 countries gain English language qualifications and provide resources to 70 million English language learners and teachers. In everything we do, we share the UK's expertise in arts and culture, education, and the English language, building connections, understanding, and trust for a more peaceful and prosperous world. Learning English and taking life-changing exams with the British Council opens the door to opportunity. These opportunities mean people can study and work abroad and make new connections and unlock their potential. When we speak the same language, share new ideas, and celebrate different perspectives, we create a chain reaction that sparks innovation and progress. Working with governments and our partners in the education sector, we help around 4 million people across 200 countries gain English language qualifications, and provide resources to 70 million English language learners and teachers. In everything we do, we share the UK's expertise in arts and culture, education, and the English language, building connections, understanding, and trust for a more peaceful and prosperous world. Learning English and taking life-changing exams with the British Council opens the door to opportunity. These opportunities mean people can study and work abroad and make new connections and unlock their potential. When we speak the same language, share new ideas, and celebrate different perspectives, we create a chain reaction that sparks innovation and progress. Working with governments and our partners in the education sector, we help around 4 million people across 200 countries gain English language qualifications and provide resources to 70 million English language learners and teachers. In everything we do, we share the UK's expertise in arts and culture, education, and the English language, building connections, understanding, and trust for a more peaceful and prosperous world. Learning English and taking life-changing exams with the British Council opens the door to opportunity. These opportunities mean people can study and work abroad and make new connections and unlock their potential. When we speak the same language, share new ideas, and celebrate different perspectives, we create a chain reaction that sparks innovation and progress. Working with governments and our partners in the education sector, we help around 4 million people across 200 countries gain English language qualifications and provide resources to 70 million English language learners and teachers. In everything we do, we share the UK's expertise in arts and culture, education, and the English language, building connections, understanding, and trust for a more peaceful and prosperous world. Learning English and taking life-changing exams with the British Council opens the door to opportunity. These opportunities mean people can study and work abroad and make new connections and unlock their potential. When we speak the same language, share new ideas, and celebrate different perspectives, we create a chain reaction that sparks innovation and progress. Working with governments and our partners in the education sector, we help around 4 million people across 200 countries gain English language qualifications and provide resources to 70 million English language learners and teachers. In everything we do, we share the UK's expertise in arts and culture, education, and the English language, building connections, understanding, and trust for a more peaceful and prosperous world. Learning English and taking life-changing exams with the British Council opens the door to opportunity. These opportunities mean people can study and work abroad and make new connections and unlock their potential. When we speak the same language, share new ideas, and celebrate different perspectives, we create a chain reaction that sparks innovation and progress. Working with governments and our partners in the education sector, we help around 4 million people across 200 countries gain English language qualifications and provide resources to 70 million English language learners and teachers. In everything we do, we share the UK's expertise in arts and culture, education, and the English language, building connections, understanding, and trust for a more peaceful and prosperous world. Learning English and taking life-changing exams with the British Council opens the door to opportunity. These opportunities mean people can study and work abroad and make new connections and unlock their potential. When we speak the same language, share new ideas and celebrate different perspectives, we create a chain reaction that sparks innovation and progress.
Okay, everybody, it is 9:55 and it is time for us to be joined by a wonderful person that I simply admire and adore listening to, Basia Szybowska. Basia, welcome so very much.
Good morning, Luisa. How are you?
I'm good. I have just participated in a wonderful session by Bartosz. So what can how better can an English teacher start a Saturday morning? But there is a follow-up of this fantastic session, and this is session number 2 by you. Ladies and gentlemen, Barbara Szybowska, who is our fantastic expert number 2. Basia, probably you have been in the English exam market for as long as Bartosz. Am I right?
Yes, for quite a while, especially for young learners. Well, that was the exam that I started with. So I have to say, probably it's over 15 years.
So
well, I stopped counting.
No, this is knowledge that nobody needs,
Yeah.
Many years, an experienced expert. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm leaving you with Basia, and I'm sure you will have an as enjoyable and as informative session as the one that we started our day with. And Basia, I promise I will try to do my best with the links.
Okay, you can just pass all of them at the end of the presentation, and I think all the participants will have them just in one go, so that's fine.
Okay, excellent. But I will be listening attentively and trying to do my best.
You.
I promise. Okay, so this is your presentation. I'm going, and I will be in the comment section. So if anybody has questions, one more thing that I wanted to say, in the comment section there is a British Council representative. So if any of our fantastic participants has got a question to the British Council, there is a representative in the comment section. So do not hesitate and go on with all these questions that may be somewhere in your thoughts. Okay, I'm going. Basia, enjoy
thank
your
you,
session.
Luisa. Thank
See you in 45 minutes.
See you. Okay. So one more time, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Barbara Szybowska. I represent British Council. I am a teacher trainer and examiner. And today I'm going to talk about teaching primary school kids. And I'll be focusing on communication, motivation, and joy. So the factors that help us effectively develop children's language skills. And I will be talking about the levels pre-A1 to A2. And I decided to start my session with saying hello with these 2 pictures, because I wanted to express how passionate I am about young learner tests and about boosting children's confidence. And I would compare it to my passion for climbing. So I would like to say that I am as passionate about teaching young learners as I am about climbing. So I'm really glad that you decided to join me for this session. And I wanted to start with a fun activity. I'm sure you are familiar with 5 seconds. So here is let's say, a more modern version of that, because you can see word wall a screenshot here, and you can see the link. And I know that Luisa will be supporting me with the links, but I believe you will get all. Oh, well, here it is. Thank you, Luisa. That's really helpful. So you've got the link. So if you want to use it in the class, well, that's perfect. All you have to do is click on the box, and then, you are going to see a task. And of course, you don't have to give students just 5 seconds. Well, you can simply give them 10 seconds. You can put them in teams so that it's a nice activity to start with. And I decided to start with this one because I also wanted to ask you, if you were given this question, what are the 3 things that you enjoy about teaching young learners? What would you say? Well, if you are happy to share it, please put it in the chat box. I will be, really, really pleased to read it because, I believe you share the same passion, for teaching young learners than I do. So, if you want, you can put it there. And I mentioned that before, that I will be focusing on levels pre-A1 to A2. So I will be talking a bit about incorporating Cambridge exams into syllabus, but I will be mostly focusing on developing, all the language skills. But this is not the only thing, because we have to remember that, reading, writing, listening, and speaking, these are very important skills. But these days, our students also have to have 21st century skills. And I decided to list just a few here. So we have creativity, communication skills, critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration, and learning to learn. Thank you, Sylvia. You've just mentioned that kids are genuine and honest. Yes, that's absolutely true. They always tell you whether they like the activity or not. So apart from focusing on all the language skills, we will be also referring to useful 21st century skills. So in this presentation, I would like to share with you practical activities. I will show you some bits from the exam, but I will mostly focus on the things that you can take and use in your classroom, no matter if you're preparing your students for the exams or not. Enthusiasm, curiosity, and gratefulness. Thank you, Claudia. That's absolutely true. Yes, I would put my name under that as well. Okay, so one more thing before we have a look at the activities. Some key elements when we think about the classroom, about providing good learning environment for our students. And we know that motivation is a key factor. So it's a good idea to make sure that we provide this kind of relaxed atmosphere in the classroom. And if you incorporate elements of fun, elements of challenge, you can be sure that you are going to achieve success. We are also going to talk about challenging students, but in a moderate way. So we start with something that is slightly easier, and only later we try to progress and to give our students slightly more challenging tasks. And obviously, it is absolutely crucial to give students clear instructions, because, you mentioned that our students are always honest. So if they don't understand something, they are going to say it and they are going to express it openly. Okay, so let's talk about some activities that could be used in the class. So, we start with pictures. We have pictures everywhere. We've got them in our course books. We've got them on different materials. And here you can see a picture from the materials for pre-A1 starters. And this is Wordley's picture book. I'll show you where to find it later on. So obviously we can show students the picture. We can tell them to look at the picture for a minute, and then we can ask them different questions, or we can ask them to look at the picture and answer the questions. And when we think about starters, and I would like to emphasize that, we have to remember that at this stage, we don't expect children to produce long utterances. But what we want them to do is to identify things in the picture. We want them to be able to point at the things and also to answer simple questions about the number of things, about the colors. And of course, pictures are colorful and always super stimulating for children. But if you would like to use pictures in a fun way, I recommend having a look at Kahoot's prepared by, Cambridge. So Cambridge English, on their website, they have a special section devoted to Kahoots. Of course, they are grouped by the level. So you've got the ones for pre-A1 starters, A1 movers, and A2 flyers. But what I like about that is that you've got the pictures. Here you can only see small fragments. You have the pictures. Students can take as much time as they want to look at the pictures. And what is more, you don't have to play it in class. You can use it for solo studying. And that's very useful because quite often parents ask me, okay, I would like to do something worthwhile with my child at home just to, make sure that they are learning something. So that's a great way. And you have some true false questions, or you have questions connected with vocabulary. So if you are interested, check it out. Yes, everybody loves Kahoot, and I think our students do as well. So they will be super happy, to see it. And what is more, it doesn't have to be that competitive, like that we limit the time, because if we go for the solo studying, even if you are doing with the group, well, students can take their time and they can bit by bit get used to that of course they feel the excitement of answering the question and being the first one, but they also want to provide the correct answer. All right, so I've got a question for you. So on our Learn English Teen website, we have a lot of challenges like that. They come from the Photos On section. And my question is, what is it? You can see fragments of 2 pictures. So before I tell you what they are, can you guess, please? And can you put your answers in the chat box? Any idea what these things could be? Well, my students usually go for something to eat. They would say, it looks like something yummy. Any idea? Okay. All right. We have tongue and bun. We are very, very close. Okay. Yes. The picture on the left, it is a pancake. Okay. All right. Thank you. Again, we were pretty close. It's a banana slice. Okay. So if you like this sort of activity, again, I recommend visiting our pizza topping. Could be. Some of my students love having bananas on their pizza, even though others would say that, well, this is not really a pizza if there are some bananas on it. Anyway, so if you are interested in activities like that, well, I recommend visiting our website, and especially this Photos On section and what is it. Okay, so and one more recommendation connected with having some fun element in the classroom. So here you can see photo caption. So any ideas for the photo captions for these pictures? Well, my colleague, when she saw that, she said, okay, the one on the left is for the kids and the one on the right is for the teachers, especially after a tiring week. But I don't know. Okay, what do you think? Can you have a look and can you come up with some ideas for the captions, for the pictures, please? Any ideas here? All right, I'm still waiting. Maybe you are going to surprise me with something super creative. I mentioned 21st century skills, and creativity is one of them. So I love it when my students start brainstorming and thinking about that. Okay, so in some of my groups, for the first one, they slightly older kids, like A2 group, they kept working on the actual moon landing, and they tried to paraphrase that for the cat. So they say, okay, so, it's not a milestone for the mankind. Okay, we've got 5 friends. Let's explore the world this morning. Yeah, you never know what you see. Okay, thank you. That's absolutely amazing. Yes, I love your answers. Thank you. But you can see that the more often you bring it to class, so the more often your students are exposed to this kind of material, the more willing they will be just to give you more and more ideas. Oh, cats rule the world and the owners are the slaves. Oh, okay. All right. I like the first part especially. I am a cat lover myself. So yes, that would be great. Okay. Thank you for your help with these things. Okay. Now let's focus for a moment on the actual exam tasks from YLE tests. So the tests for young learners, they are the tests for learners between the ages of 7 and 12. Of course, you may have also children who are 6 and are able to take the test, but I would like to emphasize that they need to be able to read and write. But the reason why I wanted to show you these tasks, because these are 2 tasks, well, this is just because this is something that I said before about starting off with something easier and also finishing with some kind of fun element. So what you can see on the left-hand side is an activity in which students listen to the recording and they have to match the names with the children in the picture. So it's pretty straightforward. All they have to do is draw the lines. I've said it's pretty straightforward, but I have to correct myself because if we are talking about pre-A1 starters, there may be some issues with straight lines when children just draw the lines. And I would like to stress that, well, this is not an important part of the exam. And obviously, this is something that we do in real life. So this is a real life skill. When we are trying to, let's say we are looking at a photograph and you are telling somebody, oh, and here is my friend Jane. And somebody asks, which one? Because let's say we have more people in the picture. And we say, oh, the one who is wearing a blue top and black trousers, and she is drinking some tea. So this is a very similar activity, so something that is useful in real life. And the picture on the right-hand side is this kind of activity that we always finish YLE tests with. I mean, the listening part, and this is coloring. And again, the neatness of coloring is not assessed. So students can just color a bit and that's it. Now, how to prepare students for activities like that and how to practice this real life skill of identifying people, identifying objects, and also being able to describe them. So obviously we want to we want to enrich students' vocabulary. So we want to equip them with different words for colors, patterns, prepositions. So here you have ready-made activity from Wordly's picture book for A2 flyers. And I will give you later on the website where you can find all those picture books, no matter if we are talking about starters, movers, or flyers. And what I like about this one is that when we start practicing it, students often collaborate and they also try to, do a bit of problem solving, especially if they are not sure. Here you can see a picture which is A2 level already. So we have more distractors. For example, we have more boys who have the same color of the sweater. So children also try to eliminate and they learn this kind of skill, which is very useful for everyday life. And if you have slightly older kids and you would like to have something super exciting when it comes to listening, I would like to recommend a special audio section on Learn English Learn English Teens British Council, where you have a special podcast, Finding Jane. Well, we have B1 version, but there is also A2 version, and it's super exciting. And what is more, it comes with the activities that you can use in class. So busy teachers, if you are thinking about something interesting for your Monday lessons, maybe you can consider this one. Now, let's go back to pictures. And I would like to focus on speaking for a while. we know that being able to communicate is one of the essential skills, and especially when we think about 21st century skills, this is absolutely crucial. And what is more, parents often ask us things like, okay, so I want to check how much they know. So can they really express themselves? So here you can see something that young learners get at pre-A1 starters level. I mentioned that before, that they only need to be able to answer simple questions like, where is the umbrella? And I don't expect them to say, well, the umbrella is on the left, and it's opposite the palm trees. Because if they can say so, well, they should be already at a higher level. At pre-A1 level, we just want them to be able to answer simple questions like, what is it? How many, for example, ducks are there, or birds? And what is the color? And there is also this, I would say, one more difficult question: tell me about. So there, the examiner points at one of the objects, let's say the boat, and says, tell me about the boat. And what we expect young learners to say at this point is things like, okay, this is a boat, it's on the water, or it's white. Just 2 sentences, and that's it. But we also give students some space to show off, to say something more, not only a single word or phrase. And of course, you have a lot of materials, including handbook for teachers. And in this one, you also have picture cards, flashcards, that are used with the scene card that you saw a moment ago. And of course, we also have some support. We are told what should be helpful for our students, because in this one, students have to place the object cards on the scene card. And again, we practice prepositions, so we can go back to the scene card with the boat, and we just give students flashcards, and we ask them, okay, which one is the spider? When they say which one it is, we ask them, put the spider on the boat, right? And again, as you can see, the response that we get from children is non-verbal. So basically, we expect them just to be able to respond, but not really to produce long utterances. Not yet. We will get there in a moment once we start talking about higher level. And here we are with A1 movers. And here you can see 2 pictures. So something that children like a lot. So comparing and talking about differences, of course, it can be used as a sort of challenge in which students have to identify the differences. But then here comes the important skill, so that they can talk about that. And since we are talking about A1 level, we don't expect them to say, in picture A, let's say the girl has got a pink towel, whereas in picture B, the towel is blue. No, what we expect them to do is to point at the differences and say, here is pink towel, here is blue towel, or this towel is pink, this towel is blue. So encourage the students to form already some phrases, but still we give them some space, and we remember that they are not able to produce super long utterances. This is a fantastic activity to show you how creative our students are. And I'm sure you are aware of that, and you often see that in the class. So in this activity, we give students 4 pictures. Of course, we don't show them all 4 rows. We start with the first one, and we tell them that we have lemon, pineapple, a book, and an orange. But we say one is different. The book is different because you don't eat the book, you read it. So we ask our students to find one that is different. And here you may be super surprised how creative our students are, because they can tell you something like, we look at the second row And we may think that a different picture is the last one, spaghetti, because it's hot. But the students can tell us something completely different. They can tell us that ice cream is different because it's dessert, or they sometimes come up with absolutely ingenious answers. And I would like to emphasize here that it doesn't matter what sort of explanation they give, if they can provide some explanation for the difference that they have found, perfect. And again, what we expect them to say is just like this, we eat for lunch, and this one is sweet. And this is okay, because we are just talking about well, A1 level. And what is more, well, students love this kind of activity. You said at the beginning that students are always honest and truthful. So you can check it out with the students and you will immediately see if they are interested in this sort of activity or not. All right, another real life skill. So when we want to find out about something, we have to ask for some information. So here we go. We have a task from A2 level in which students are given some information about, they are given information about one picture and they have to ask for information about the other. And I really like this activity because it teaches our students how to form questions. So this is the sort of activity that you would like to use in class, no matter if you are preparing students for the exam or not, because this is something that happens in real life, that we want to find out how old the castle is or what time it is open. So what is more, we provide our students with a sort of scaffolding, because first we model that and we tell them, well, you don't know anything about George's favorite castle, but I do. I'm going to ask you some questions. And then we change that and they have to ask us some questions. So they are also exposed to the model. And obviously in class, we can do it with different things, with information gap activities. Okay, now an idea that, I came up with for my young learners. You can see some cards here that I created in Canva. So this is for this or that. I like to give my students menu choice and I ask them which one they prefer. So that's a simple activity in which they can also see the pictures and I expect them to say why. So in this way, of course, this is already like A1 students. So football or swimming? And they can say football because I like playing, or swimming because I like water, or because it's more fun. So you can create cards like that within seconds using Canva. And I usually print them out and laminate them for my students so that you can use this activity as a grade filler or like say a kind of warm-up activity. And if you have slightly older students and you don't want to provide them with pictures, you can just create a list like that. So for my A1, A2 students, I try to think of some things that are, close to them. So Minecraft or Fortnite, fruit or vegetables, YouTube or Instagram with A2 students who are already like 12 and some of them 13. Something simple about colors and also the clothes that they like wearing. It's a great activity because in this one, we give them some space to express their opinions. And we know that when we personalize learning, it's going to be more memorable for the students. And we also have a chance to find out more about our students. Now, let's focus on storytelling. We know that storytelling is a big part of teaching children, and we use it in listening, we use it in speaking, we use it later on with A2 level, also when it comes to writing. But here, I wanted to show you, a story that we can use for storytelling in class. So we usually give the students the title of the picture, the story, And we also tell them who the people in the picture are. And we also start the story. Well, I would like to tell you that when it comes to storytelling, especially when we are talking about A1, because this is where we start with that, it is not that important which tenses our students use. What is more important is being able to convey the message, to tell the story. Obviously, it requires some practice. So my suggestion would be to start with some group storytelling, generating ideas, and giving the students a chance to get used to storytelling. So of course we provide them with a lot of models, and we will come back to storytelling later on once we start talking about writing. And I wanted to, because so far I've been talking a lot about YLE exams, but we also have the exam for A2 level. It's A2 key for schools. And I wanted to show you an activity that we use on daily basis in class. I mean, asking for opinions and expressing opinions. And I'm really happy that this activity is present in A2 Key for Schools exam in the speaking section, because here we ask students if they like something and they have to say why or why not, and they have to talk together. So it's also super natural that they have to solve the problem with the partner, not with the teacher who is more knowledgeable than they are, but with a partner. So I believe this is great. However, I decided to show you something that can be really helpful in the class. So when you want to show this activity to the students, you also want them to use variety of adjectives, because they usually say, when we go back to the previous slide, I prefer I like playing football. Why? Because it is fun. And then they say, I like this because it is fun. And we don't want them to repeat the same phrases. That's why I wanted to show you a ready-made activity that you can find on Cambridge English among the resources for teachers. And in this one, we provide our students with different adjectives that they can use. Of course, we can also prepare our own list that we have somewhere so that students can refer to it regularly and they can build up. So they can add more adjectives, and whenever they express their opinion, they are going to use a different adjective each time they express their opinion. I believe this is super helpful. Now, let's talk a bit about reading and writing. I know that, sometimes parents especially say, well, exams for students who are just at pre-A1 level, but they can't write. So I wanted to show you what reading and writing is at this level. And this is the same thing we do in class, because when we start teaching primary school students, we start off with very simple activities like the ones you can see here. So like unjumbling letters, or answering questions with one word only. And what is more, the questions are about the pictures. So we don't have a text here, we just have the pictures. So it's absolutely fine. And of course, if you would like to have more activities like that, I recommend visiting Learn English Kids, where you also have ready-made activities like these. And you can see here that you've got worksheets. And what is more, the only thing that students need to do here is to copy the words. Well, you can even make it faster by asking students just to draw arrows and decide which word is going to go where, because here we have some information about two kids and their toys. Okay, so let's go back to typical exam activities, and let's focus a bit more about on reading and writing. So I said that students are not required to do a lot at this level. And sometimes it's just tick or cross, and sometimes it's just a preposition. And here, these classroom activities come from a special booklet. And again, I'm going to specify that later, where you can find all that, because there is one website by Cambridge English where you have all these resources at a click, and you can use them, you can display them in classroom, and well, you can use it for a quick revision activity, for an element of competition, because when you decide to prepare students for the exam, you don't have to change the book. All you need to do is to try some sample tests, just to see, first of all, if your students enjoy that, and well, secondly, if this is something that is level appropriate for them. And again, coming back to pictures, well, pictures are really a big part of what we do in a primary school classroom. And here is another activity about the picture. We don't have to do it in writing the way it is done here, like putting yes or no, but we can simply, ask questions about the picture, just displaying the picture. And we can do it again as a sort of challenge, just showing them some picture for, let's say, a minute, or what is more, we can remove some elements, cover them, or have two similar pictures just to talk about differences. Now, I wanted to show you how reading and writing changes as we go up to level A1. So what you can see here is, like, we have some definitions and we have to match them with the pictures. And again, this is a real life skill. Sometimes students don't know how to say something in English yet, but they can describe it. They can say, well, this is a thing that you use when you go swimming, right? So this is some kind of useful skill. And again, we come back to problem solving, to creativity, but also we come back to communication skills, which are absolutely indispensable these days. And obviously, at A1 level, we also have some writing. And this is the moment when sometimes teachers and parents go like, ooh, are they going to be able to do it? Well, I can assure you that they can do it. Obviously, we have to practice that with them. And in a moment, I'm going to show you how to provide your students with sort of scaffolding so that they get step-by-step preparation for this kind of activity in which they have to complete the sentences, answer the questions, but also write sentences about the picture. So obviously, this is something challenging. So here comes an absolutely amazing thing. We have a special writing skills booklet, and you can find it on cambridge1.org. And on this website, you can see simply, the booklet for movers, for A1, and the booklet for flyers. The reason why I absolutely adore these two booklets is because they take our students step by step through picture description. So we start with identifying objects, then we try to, find more objects to match sentences, to, write some more about that. And only later, you simply try to answer the questions. So we don't give them this exam activity because then they would struggle. We provide them with step-by-step introduction to this activity. And when we think about flyers, so this is already A2 level, and this is the same level as A2 Key for Schools is, but we have less colorful activities there. I'll show you an example in a moment. Here we have more writing and more reading. And when you look at the activities which we have here, you can clearly see that this time when they have definitions in part 1, they don't have the pictures. So here they also need to apply problem solving. Even if they don't know all the words, they can do it by elimination. So something that is, again, real life skill, something that we use in our lives. And when you look at part 4, you can see this is an open class. Oh, wow. So this is already challenging, yes, but we've been preparing our students for that. And since they are already at A2 level, they can face this challenge and they can be successful at it. So now let me show you how to help students with developing this skill of describing objects, first in speaking and, well, at some point also in writing. So here is an activity again from Cambridge English, from the special section for flyers, which is about describing objects. So we have some beginnings of sentences just to help us. And we can also give them a sample description, like it's a sport. It's nice to do it on a hot day. You can do it in water, and then students can guess it is swimming. But let me show you an activity that I prepare for my students. If you're familiar with a game called Articulate, you may know what I'm talking about. So I print these cards. On the one hand, on the one side, I've got categories: place, thing, animal, and activity. On the other side, students are given choices. So they have one place, one thing, one animal, one activity. When they pick a card, they have to decide which word they want to talk about, because they can choose the one that they know, the one that they feel confident about. So it's a great idea of giving our students this sort of menu choice and taking responsibility for their learning. Of course, if you have students at A2 level and who are, let's say, slightly older, 12, 13, or maybe even 11, but they can say that, well, looking at pictures is a bit, it's too easy for them, then you can provide them with activities from A2 Key for Schools exam. And it's a great preparation also for school leaving exam for 8th graders, because a lot of activities are similar to the ones that we see in egzamin ósmoklasisty. And again, if you would like to have more practice connected with writing, I recommend, looking at something that is really enjoyable for our students, because this is connected with writing a conversation, so something that they do using their phones, and it's ready-made for you. And if you are looking for longer piece of text, you can visit our magazine zone. Here, a lovely article about Edinburgh Summer Festival at A2 level. So check it out. So just to finish with writing, since we have like 3 minutes, so yes, we will be there. So coming back to story writing. At A2 level, students are expected to be able to create a short story about 3 pictures. And again, I wouldn't expect them to be able to do it straight away. So no matter if it's the colorful thing that we saw here for flyers, or a similar activity but black and white from A2 for schools, I wouldn't expect them to know how to go about it. Again, I would provide them with scaffolding. So we have this lovely writing skills booklet, this time at A2 level. And since I love climbing, the picture with 2 guys climbing there, appeals to me a lot. But again, you've got the questions around that. And what is more, you've got like a model of a story, so that students learn how to go about that. And you also have, extra help. You can have posters where we have some extra adjectives to be used or linking words, so we can give it to our students. And if you have older students, I would say A2 or B1, there is a great tool. You can go to random image generator. We can choose a picture and we can ask our students just to write about it. To write, maybe not a story, but a description, or you can choose 3 pictures, and well, you can just use it. And if you want some ready-made activities, well, you can find them on our website. And here is a lovely thing about my favorite sport. Again, we are talking about Learn English Kids. So you can just use the scaffolding first. You can see here different structures like I love doing something. So in this way, we teach them integrated skills. So now the thing about ready-made materials. So basically, you can find those booklets, you can find, well, the materials like flashcards and picture books. Yeah, you can see the flashcards here. You can use them for storytelling, placing objects, well, talking about the elements, answering questions about themselves. And everything you can find here in the database of free materials for teachers on Cambridge English website. So when you go there and you specify which which level you are interested in and which skill you are interested in, you are going to get all the details. And what is more, in this section for students, students can find some activities for self-study. So it's absolutely fantastic because they can practice in their free time. So just to sum up, I would like to emphasize that you don't need to, well, change the book if you decide to try, well, Cambridge English qualifications, because they are aligned with Cambridge European Framework for Languages. And what is more, they stress the meaningful language use. And thanks to that, you develop all the language skills, but you also develop 21st century skills with your students. And if students achieve something, they have this, well, boost of confidence. And this is absolutely crucial because we want them to take this opportunity to start this, let's say, adventure with exams. So I'm going to finish at this point. And my question is, do you have any questions? If you do, please put them in the chat box. Okay, and while I'm waiting for the questions, I would like to also invite you to join us for Saturday morning sessions. We organize them every Saturday. Check out the details. For the time being, it's IELTS, about IELTS and different skills. But you will also have a chance to see Bartosz there, well, me and Piotr, who is going to speak in a moment. So thank you very much. Okay, if you have questions, put them in the chat box. Thank you for your active participation. I really appreciate it. And well, Bartosz gave you detailed address. Here you have just the email and the phone number. So if you want to reach out to us, please do so. Thank you.
Basia, I promise everyone that we will have the second fantastic session, and I think promises that I make do come true. So thank you very much. Sylvia has just written in the chat box that this is one of the best webinars she has attended in years.
Aww,
how
so
fantastic!
sweet.
How fantastic! Thank you so much. I don't know if I did my best pasting the links.
But could you just post the whole list?
Oh, yeah. This is what I was just
be super useful.
So everyone, in the, I think you should see the full list right now. I think, yeah, you should see the full list right now of the links that Basia was referring to during her session, because I was trying to,
I know.
my way through all the list. I think I did my best, but if you need to go through those links again, you've got them all pasted right now. Basia, thank you so much. The session was really, really interesting, especially that I am right now in this situation of having to prepare students to A2 CAT for schools. So I was like, taking notes and yeah, super interesting, super interesting for me. Thank you very, very, very much. I think I will say goodbye, sadly, but we have got what is the time? We've got 1 minute, so we need to go. I'm sorry. I need to let you go.
It was me just going a bit longer, like 2 minutes longer. Sorry about that.
Okay. I think Piotr doesn't mind. Thank you very much, Basia.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, I don't think that we have got time for a break, because at exactly 10:45, we are supposed to start another session with Piotr Pluskota, and Piotr is here with us. And, I love cooperating with people from the British Council, with experts from the British Council, because Bartosz is fantastic. Basia is great. Wait for Piotrek to show what he can do. I'm sure that you will see that when I say that a session will be fantastic, a session will be fantastic. Piotrek, it is 10:45. Are you ready? Is it only me who can't hear Piotr?
Yes, now I'm unmuting myself. Yes. I didn't want to disturb anyone. I just said that I'm ready to go now for sure.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much, because we had a moment of terror with Bartosz before I started because I couldn't hear him, but it was my fault, not his. So everything is fine. Woo! Excellent. Brilliant. All right, Piotr, here are your slides. And again, to everyone, I'm going to come back in 45 minutes to say thank you to Piotr, and then thank you to all of you, because this is our last session. But as they wisely say, last but not least. Thank you very much, Piotrek. I'm moving to the comment section. So enjoy, and see you in 45 minutes.
All right, brilliant. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I really do hope, last but not least, I hope you will find it as interesting and informative as the previous meetings. So my name is Piotr Pluskota. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here and listening to our presentations. And I hope my topic will be as interesting as the previous ones, because I am going to focus on the usefulness of Cambridge exams in, let's say, whole work of a language school to assess the level and to give our students interesting materials to show their progress, and all of it in the next 45 minutes. I hope I will be able to prove to you. One technical thing, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask during the presentation as well. There will be time to ask questions at the end, I hope, but I always try to have a quick glance at the chat, and if I see a question, I will try to address it when you see the slide. Okay, so please don't hesitate. I will simply try to do my best. Okay, so let's start with, let's say, the obvious thing about the clear objective that Cambridge exams are, because I'm absolutely sure you all know the Common European Framework of Reference system from A1 to C2. However, I am curious how well your students know it, because this is something I pay great attention to always while teaching. I try to have this approach to let's say, exams and assessment from the perspective of the candidate, of the student. This comes from years of practice with conducting exams and seeing candidates and students coming into the exam room not really knowing what is going to be assessed. They know it's a language exam, they know it's English, they know it's speaking, let's say, but what exactly is being assessed? This can be a bit of an issue for them. So later on, I'm going to address this topic, but first of all, let's start with the clear objective of Cambridge exams. And of course, here we have the whole range of Cambridge exams, which begins from starters, movers, flyers for, let's say, youngest students. Then we have the for schools option with key or key, preliminary, and first for schools. And this is my question. Maybe you can write in the comments section. When you teach, prepare your students, is it more often the regular versions of key, preliminary, first, advanced? or the for schools version, because it is quite interesting. I still come across teachers who are not very familiar with the for school version of the test. So I'm just a bit curious. So if you can write for schools or regular, I would be really thankful for you to give me this feedback. Moreover, when we look at the objective of exams, this is the whole idea, that our students know what they are aiming at. They know what they are going for, and they know that at the end, there is an exam that will prove their hard work. And this is absolutely fantastic. I have prepared a couple of points why this is useful, why Cambridge exams are the right tool for assessment. And first of all, I would like to begin with the I think something that we actually are not so well aware of, how standardized and reliable the assessment of Cambridge exams is, how much research is done behind it. There are whole papers on Cambridge English website, or simply Cambridge website, where you can read about the whole process of developing the exams, that it's not just a couple of people sitting in the room and coming up with ideas and questions. It's much more complicated process, which gives this reliability, that you can be certain that this is perfectly marked system. Second of all, we've got the 4 language skills, reading, writing, listening, and speaking being assessed, but also use of English, so grammar and vocabulary. So all the skills necessary to produce language, understand language, are there. And when we think about the progress our students make, again, this is from my experience. I've been working with Cambridge exams for the last 20 years, or even a bit more, and I've seen candidates coming every year or every 2 years taking the next level of exam, starting from first, then 2 years later advanced, 2-3 years later proficiency, and it really happened, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the progress, that people know the clear progress path. And since 2015, and then a bit small later changes, the exams, Cambridge exams, are beautifully unified. So a candidate preparing for first is actually preparing, when it comes to the format, to advanced and to proficiency. Because I don't know if you remember, but like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, the exams were very different. And now they are, when it comes to types of tasks, number of questions, and so on, they are very similar. So it's not preparing to something completely new. It's definitely motivational for our learners, because they do get a certificate at the end and the proof of their hard work. And in my opinion, from the school's perspective, this is the quality assurance, okay? The high teaching standards, that there is a proof that our students do pass Cambridge exams. And moreover, finally, I think that they are very real life tasks in the exam. So writing emails, speaking, listening in situations that you can really be in. For example, in C1 Advanced, so many, I would say, academic topics or interesting listening topics that you can really learn something from. I absolutely adore them. So all of these make Cambridge exams really a great assessment tool, but we can look also at it from different perspectives. And here we have the, let's say, perspective of an individual student. When we have a let's say, A2 level student, and she is, well, it's an initial stage of learning, of course, but after 6 months or a year, it depends on how your courses are conducted, you can have an A2 key exam, and you can see the scores of individual parts. And I think this is crucial, that you can see the score from reading, you can see the score from speaking, listening, and based on the score, you can decide which areas, let's say, need a little bit of tweaking. Okay, so this really show that we can change our classes, we can change a bit our curriculum to address the individual needs of our students. And of course, we can do it from the whole class system, that we have 20 students and they are preparing a B1 for B1 preliminary. That's always a tongue twister a bit for me. And we can see that they are struggling with writing, because we are conducting a diagnostic test at the beginning, and we know that, okay, writing is an issue. And again, I can tell you that writing and speaking is a bit of an issue for most students on every level. And I will be addressing that later on a little bit. But in tracking, we can really work on this area, on writing, and then we can see that there is an improvement, sure, but listening is still lacking. So we are now adjusting the curriculum. We are adding more listening exercises, podcasts, dialogues. I think that nowadays we've got so many beautiful resources for listening. In the past, we had CDs, we had radios, and so on and so forth. Now with the podcasts, now with all the materials online, listening can be really, really enjoyable. So this is the class-wide monitoring. And finally, we've got the long-term program evaluation. If your school is thinking about the long run, and for example, you have students, like I said, that are preparing for every stage, and they are planning to develop their English up to the highest standard, we can really do it using Cambridge exams. Starting from A2 key or B1, depending what is the starting point, we can see, for example, that some area, here is the example of speaking, but it can be any of them, listening, writing, use of English can be challenging. You can really adjust the program, the materials, add certain tasks, have little less of listening if they are doing great, or add a bit more speaking. This is because all Cambridge exams, when you get the results, you get from individual parts the score. So this is just the right thing. So when we think about the benefits of progress tracking by teachers, by schools, first of all, remember that we have this from hard data. Okay, so we've got scores per skill, as I said before. So it's not a guessing game. It's not like after writing one essay, okay, so we need to work on that. Or after one listening that didn't go too well, we have to focus on that. When you conduct this kind of test, you are certain that this is the assessment of the performance of your students. And moreover, it's an evidence of their success. So you can show the quality of school to parents, sponsors. It's a great thing for marketing when you can say that your students pass, let's say 98% of them pass Cambridge exams in the given session. It's student oriented because we are really focusing on the students' progress, and we can personalize our work, our lesson plans, to really be more efficient and give them more confidence when they sit the test in the end. And of course, when we have this kind of evaluation system, it is aligned to a global standard because it is aligned to a common European framework of reference. So this way, it all fits together very, very nicely, I believe. Okay, so now I would like to focus on the assessment of individual parts, and this is something that I always pay great attention to, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said before, I've been working with exams for years, and there are a couple of things that I've noticed. One of them is when people take the writing part of the test, first advanced proficiency, you can always tell people who are not familiar with the assessment criteria, what is expected from you to do. I am not going to lie, I have seen people trying to write in part 2 all the tasks, so 3 different topics to write, because they were not aware of the fact, or they just didn't read, that you have to choose one. And it is a true story, ladies and gents, and it didn't happen only once. So I always pay attention to the fact that when you come to an exam, if you are taking a test, and it is an important thing for you, it is a bit stressful, let's face it, you must know the rules of the game. And when it comes to writing, it is also important what is being assessed. Students must know it. I am absolutely certain that you do, but ask yourself a question. Are your students aware what is being assessed? And if you can, please write in the comments, do your students are aware of the assessment scales? Like, what are the criteria you are using for assessing their writing? it doesn't have to be, exactly as the Cambridge assessment scale, but if you have your own, that's great. But are your students aware of the criteria? Because if they don't, it's a bit like playing a game that you don't know the rules of. What is important? And in Cambridge writing, all the levels have the same criteria, which makes it very practical for you as teachers and students to learn them and understand them well. So we've got the 4 criteria, and it's content, communicative achievement, organization, and language. Plus, there's a plus, like the length of responses and varieties of English. The first 4 are actually, on a scale from 0 to 5 points, whereas the length of responses and varieties of English are not individual criteria, but they are taken into consideration, let's say, in language and organization. Okay, but I think that it should be stressed to students that they have to pay attention to it. Content, I will go to the criteria in a second in detail, but with the length of responses, remember, or maybe don't remember, just tell me, can we write more than the required, let's say, 140, 190 words in B2 first? Can we write more than that, or should we stick to the criteria? This is a good question, because very often students are a bit confused because of Matura test, because of other exams. But I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we should stick to the criteria. We should really follow how the 140, 190, it shouldn't be more than that, because the examiners do count words. And when it comes to varieties of English, we should stick to one variety of English. So if we are using British spelling, try to stick to British spelling. Of course, if you switch a little bit, it will not be the end of the world, and you will not fail your writing part, but the examiner is going to look at it and see and mark it in a way. Now, what I wanted to show you, and I think it is very important, is how to explain to your students in a simple term what content, communicative achievement, organization, and language is, like all the criteria. So content is, I think, yeah, okay, thank you, because I got the reply that we should stick to the limit. Yes, of course. And coming back here, when we look at the content question, this is just answering the task. If there are points in the task, whether we have answered all of them, developed them correctly, and the target reader got all the information. Communicative achievement is simply writing appropriate for the task. Style, register used for a given task. Very formal style in an email to a friend simply is not going to cut it. Again, it will not fail your test, but it's communicative achievement not at the right level. Organization, how well your text is organized, if it's logical and ordered. Paragraphs here play a great role. And finally, language, a good range of vocabulary and grammar. They are used accurately, and the higher the score, the less mistakes there are. But I have to add one thing. Many teachers, because I also have separate workshops for writing, and many teachers are very strict when it comes to assessing writing. So they see one grammar mistake or two grammar mistakes, one or two misspelled words, and off goes the head. And it's like 2 or 3 instead of higher score. And if you really would like to follow the British, the Cambridge assessment criteria, we should follow them, let's say, to the letter, because they are very precisely described. You can find them in handbooks for teachers, and there you have information that even in 4 out of 5, when it comes to language, let's say, mistakes may happen. Mistakes may happen. They do not impede communication. It is always added, but nevertheless, they can happen, and they don't have to, lower the score. So please remember about that. And now a bit of help for your students. This is a set of points, questions they should ask themselves when they are writing. You can take screenshots, you can just have it. I think that even maybe the presentation will be shared with you, or you can just look at it and remember it, because when we think about content, your students should always ask the questions. Have I covered all the key information? Have I written only information which is relevant? Have I developed the basic points? So the development part is very important. From content, that's it. Communicative achievement, all right, so have I achieved the main purpose of the text? Have I used a suitable mix of fact and opinion? And have I used a suitable style and register? Simple points. They do not have to be very complicated. The list shouldn't be very long, but this kind of self-check is incredibly useful for our students. Moreover, it will give them like the frame they can put their text on. And it's not going to be like this, that you ask them, okay, have you read your text before you handed it in, right? I always ask my students, have you read it before handing it in? Yes, of course. It's the best text I have ever written. And then point by point, you have to prove that they are a bit wrong. So this kind of frame is incredibly useful. The same goes for organization and language. So paragraphs, organizational features, is the connection between my ideas clear and easy for the reader to follow, and so on and so forth. And with language, wide range of vocabulary, not too much repetition, okay, range of simple and more complex structures, accurate grammar, spelling accurate, and so on. Basic points, and after some time, they can have it even printed out in class. It can be on the wall, but sooner or later, they will have it in their head. They will have this system in their head that they will be able to assess their own work in a way. And I always tell my students that even if you find one mistake, if you correct one element, if you add one linking word or remove something that is incorrect, that's a success. Okay, you have improved your work. You would have handed it in with this tiny mistake and you corrected it, thanks to this self-checking method. Simple tools can be actually very useful. And the same goes for speaking, ladies and gents. Here we have the speaking assessment criteria. And this is for first with grammar and vocabulary as one, and for advanced, C1 advanced, grammatical resource and lexical resource are two separate assessment criteria. And I'm showing you this because, again, I've seen not once or twice, this happened dozens of times. When in the past, when you had the speaking exam, you would sit in the waiting area and you would get the mark sheet that you would give to the examiner later on. And the students would look at their names, yes, that's them, and then they would look at the assessment criteria at the bottom. And they've got grammar and vocabulary, that's reasonable, they get that, but then they would look at discourse management, pronunciation, that's also reasonably clear, and interactive communication. And they would be so confused, what is discourse management? And what's the difference between discourse management and interactive communication, that they would sit and openly discuss it because they were just curious. They are taking the exam in 10 minutes and they do not know what is being assessed. Okay, that's asking for trouble. Your students must be aware what is being assessed and what the assessment criteria are. Okay, and you can explain it to them at the beginning, very simple terms. Discourse management is the length and complexity of your response. Poor discourse management will be yes, no, That's not good discourse management, right? The word because, it should be your favorite word when you are speaking. You actually do want to show off a little bit in your speaking part. With pronunciation, all right, you should tell your students that they do not have to speak like the king. They can really try their best, but L1 still can affect their pronunciation. It's taken into consideration, especially at the lower levels. And interactive communication, when we think about it, we have to remember that this is the interaction between the examiner and the candidate, and between the candidate and the other candidate as well, because there are the interactive parts where you speak to each other with the other candidate, and the examiner is only listening. And this interactive communication doesn't only go to this like, and what do you think, the classic interactive communication, but also, for example, responding to what they said, right? Showing that you have been listening and you can add something to it. So really, these points are important for your students to know and help them to take and pass the exams with greater ease. And now I would like to show you something that I actually really like about Cambridge exams, and this is extended certification. It may be a little bit unclear because I can see it well, so I hope you can see it as well. But this extended certification was introduced some time ago now, actually, to make the Cambridge exams cover more areas, let's say, of common European framework of reference. And actually, it's very, let's say, user-friendly or candidate-friendly. It works like this, that if you take the test and you get a grade A from an exam, you actually get a level higher, which means you take B2 first, you get an A, you get a C1 level. It doesn't mean that you get C1 advanced. Remember and tell your students that, because you were taking the B2 first, but it will be first at C1 level because you are so good at English that it is beyond B2 level. And this is great that when you take an exam of any sort from Cambridge and you write it exceptionally well, you get A. Let's say this is about 90% plus, I would say, about. You are praised for it with a higher level. It is very motivating, in my opinion, to prepare well for the test, because it's not like, okay, it doesn't matter if I get 90 or let's say 85 or 95, because I still get the same certificate. It's still B2, right? Nobody will look at the A, B, or C, for example. No, it doesn't work like that. If you do really well, you can get a higher level. So I think it's always a good thing to show and tell your students that do your best, try hard, and you can get a higher level certificate than you were applying for. I always tell my students that. And at the same time, I have to tell you that Cambridge English Scale, which is the system for all scores of Cambridge exams, is a little bit blurry. I will not hide it from you. I will tell it openly. I will try to explain it as clearly as I can. The idea is that all the marks you get are based on an individual session that the students were taking. So, for example, we are going to have a session in October, okay? And there will be a sample of tests that students have written, and it is going to be assessed if it was difficult or actually it wasn't very hard for the students. And then they are going to adjust the scale from session to session. For example, when we look at use of English, okay, the maximum is 30 points. To get 180 points from Cambridge English Scale, so C1 level, you have to get 24 or more. Okay, 25, 26, it will just boost your score a little bit. But the minimum is 24. However, from session to session, it can change. It can change in this way, that if the exam was really difficult, then it can be lowered. Okay, it can be 23 points. So because the test was hard, the students at B2 level could have trouble with it, so it will be 23 in this session. If it was very easy, and most of the candidates did it in flying colors, and it seemed that it was a bit too easy, it can be raised to 25 from session to session, which unfortunately for us teachers makes it difficult to give very precise scores. I always tell my students, think about it like 3% up or down, and you have to take this into consideration. So if we are conducting a mock test, we are writing a test together, looking at it, thinking about the final result, I'm telling them, okay, remember, it depends also on the Cambridge English Scale. It can be a little bit higher or a little bit lower, not more than 3% in my opinion, maybe 5 tops, but generally speaking, that's the idea. So we shouldn't always stick 100% to the score that we have in the tables. We should always think about a little, let's say, wiggle room when it comes to this kind of assessment. Okay, for all parts, we have the assessment criteria like this from the Cambridge English Scale. I will go back for a second just to show you that reading and use of English are actually separate parts. The candidates take it as one. They are not like looking at it from two separate areas, but for examiners and assessment, reading is separate and use of English is separate. Again, it's great because it gives you better feedback on assessment, so you know that reading and use of English is not like one mixed area, but you can see grammar of your students and you can see the reading skills of your students. Okay, so now I would like to show you some online materials you can use with your students for practice on different levels. I will show you how to use them in class because all of them are class friendly and they can be used online, from projectors, any way you like. All of them are for free to use by anyone who is willing to look for them. And the first website I'm going to tell you is Teaching English Org UK. Quick question, do you know it? Do you use it? If you like it, it's fantastic. You can maybe share some parts you like about it, some areas that you like. I think that it's one of the best websites for teachers of English because it's a complete deal. You have fantastic resources, lesson plans, materials you can use in your classes on all levels. And it's very clearly produced for you. We've got aims of every given lesson, we've got age and level, time for the lesson, and all the materials in PDF format. You can print it out, you can send it to your students as homework, they can use it any way they like. If there is any interactive element like a video or something like that, or a recording, it's always in the lesson. The links are there, it's all provided for you to use. You don't have to register, you don't have to pay anything, you just go, choose the level. In, for example, teaching secondary, teaching adults, depending on the level. We have also teaching kids. All of it in one place. You choose the lesson, you choose the level, and you can go with it. This is specifically designed for teachers of English. And like I said, you've got ready-made handouts that you can do with your students. I'm so happy because Sylvia just wrote that it's new to me. So if it's new to you, you are going to love it because this is the website that you go to and you can't believe that there's so much to explore, so much to use, and how well it is prepared, because all the materials are prepared by the teachers from the British Council, so the level is really, really top-notch. Everything is transparent, clear, easy, everything works, everything is updated regularly, so it's not like the lessons are from 12 years ago and nobody cares about the topics that they are talking about. It's all really, really fresh and relevant. The next website is for all. It's for teachers, it is for students, and it's Learn English. On Learn English website, you've got on the top, you can see courses, skills, grammar, vocabulary, business English, general English, and IELTS. I would really like you to check out skills and general English. Of course, check out everything, but skills have reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So you choose the skill you are trying to work on with your students. And in general English, you have all the podcasts, all the videos, all the interactive resources, I would say. Also something great to use. So let's have a closer look. Here, for example, we have reading. And when we go to the reading in skills, you will find that there are levels starting from A2, then B1, B2, C1, and you've got dozens of lessons, dozens of ready-made lessons. There is a topic, and always the, let's say, layout is similar. You have preparation, where you've got some vocabulary work from the topic, maybe some introduction, so you get a kind of a warm-up. Here we have reading, so of course we have a text to read, and then we always have a bunch of follow-up activities. Another website that I absolutely love, this is the sister website of Learn English, this is Learn English Teens. By teens, I would say people between 12 and 25. Of course, there is no age check, and if you are older or younger, you can go and use their materials as well. Okay, so don't worry about anything. And the idea and the layout is very, very similar. You've got skills, you've got grammar, vocabulary, exams, but the topics, the areas covered on the website are more suitable for younger people. Whereas in Learn English, the green one, it's for adults as well. So there are topics from, let's say, work-related areas and so on and so forth. Whereas here you will not come across that much of them. Maybe, like starting your job, first job, and so on and so forth. Here in, let's say, reading section, we've got different topics. Again, always a warm-up activity. And here you see how it's built. So we've got our celebrities bad for you in preparation. Look, fantastic vocabulary work, gap filling exercise. It's all drag and drop. You can do it on the website. Then a text to read and follow-up activity. Okay, so gap filling exercise is a follow-up, and it's always more than one. You have plenty to choose from. If there is a specific task you are thinking of working on for the exam, right? Like your students have a problem with gap filling, or they have a problem with multiple choice, you will always find tasks for this specific type of exercise. Moreover, it's always in the handout format in a PDF. You can download it and print it out, and then you will have the tasks and the text in a printed form for you to give in class. So it can be online and it can be printed. You just choose the option you like best. Also, we've got writing there, and if you see it that it's in green, this is Learn English. And here we have describing a bar chart. I really like that kind of tasks because our students are so used in writing essays, in writing, let's say, short stories and so on, that sometimes when they get a different type of task, they are a little bit overwhelmed and they can't do it. It's impossible. Nobody has ever written anything like that. And you can show them that it is doable. You've got preparation. You've got a sample piece of writing. I love that when you are working on these Cambridge websites, you always have a sample of writing. Many of my students, when I'm doing some extra work, they tell me that at school, nobody tells them how to write a specific piece of writing. They just don't know the technical aspects of it. They don't know how to write, let's say, a report. Why? Because there is no report on Matura exam, but there are exams like C1 Advanced where you can get a report. And generally speaking, it's first of all useful to know how to write a report. And second of all, in my opinion, report is super fantastic topic for writing on an exam, because the layout is always the same. If you know the layout of a report, it's like, building from Lego blocks. You just put all the parts in the right place and it writes itself. Here we have it all in one place. So you've got a task, you've got a text, you've got a reply, and you've got different tips on how to approach a given type of exercise. Moreover, tasks to do on your own later on, and in download section, a worksheet for you to use in class. And now, when it comes to writing, we've got Cambridge Write and Improve. Quick question, have you ever tried it? Have you ever used Write and Improve with Cambridge? If not, I really, really, really would like you to try it out. The idea is that Cambridge, it's 2 or 3 years ago, before the huge boom for AI and all these chat GPTs and so on, they have introduced Write and Improve. And the idea is that you can go to this website. It's writeandimprove.com, a very simple address. And you can go there and you have 2 main sections, Write and Improve workbooks and Test Zone. Test Zone offers only a couple of free samples. Later on, there's a paywall. However, in workbooks, it's all free. And you choose the level, beginner, intermediate, advanced, business, or just for fun. And in each and every category, you've got, 20, 25, 30 topics for writing. You choose the one you would like your students to try, and you just begin writing. You've got the topic. I have chosen a proposal, a small grant application. This is C1 level, so it's 220, 260 words to write. And I have to write more than 220 to get it assessed. And when I do get it assessed, I get feedback. Automatically, instantly, I get feedback. I didn't do too well. I got 2 out of 5. I definitely can improve my writing, but I got feedback also when it comes to the text itself, not just the score. I got marked when I used a wrong word. You can see it in these little boxes. Moreover, there are different colors of my sentences that may require better syntax, that may require a better choice of words. It can be more advanced, more developed. Of course, it will never replace a real teacher who can give you feedback, who knows your writing and knows what are your common mistakes, let's say. Nevertheless, for your students preparing for an exam, let's say a month before, this is something extra. They can use it, practice, even to get familiar with the types of tasks they have at Cambridge exams, because it can be not in the exam zone, but still these are all levels of Cambridge and the same tasks that you can get. If you go to the intermediate level, you will have like B2 level, and if you go to advanced, you will have C1 level. Simple as that, and the criteria for these exams. Also, when it comes to teaching English, you've got all the whole lesson plans on different levels. Here I've got B1 because it's not always about, B2, C1. And the online materials are full of interactive topics. So you can go to teaching English and you can go to learn English or show it to your students. And there in general English, I mentioned it before, you've got video zone, you've got audio zone, magazines, stories, and they are prepared in a very, very high standard. In audio zone, you've got fantastic podcasts. They are rather long ones, I would say, here in audio zone, because they can be 10, 15, even 20 minutes long. But for extra practice, it's great. You always have a transcript. You can always check some vocabulary. There are number of tasks for each listening. Here you can see that there are 3, but actually I think there are 8 for this one. I just had to cut it to fit it in the slide. So plenty of activities for listening and practicing for your students. The same goes for Learn English Teens, where you've got video zone. And I love the video zone there because most of the materials are on very high level. They are done by the BBC, for example. So it's not someone with a phone filming random things, but it is on a really, really high level, always with follow-up activities, always with different tasks on the topic. And these are relevant, interesting topics. So your students are not going to be bored to death, which in my opinion is important. That should enjoy the lessons. The same goes for vocabulary. If you would like to go and have some vocabulary work, here we have a whole series of fast phrasals. It's a series, it's like a cartoon, animated cartoon. So you have different characters and the phrasals are done in context. It's so brilliant that you got a cartoon, you got a video, it's 3 minutes, 4 minutes long. Then you see on the right-hand side, you have a handout with different phrasals in context. It's a different thing when you learn them from a list, let's say, or just from a text. When you have a video, you have follow-up activities all in one place. They just learn themselves. That's really, really fun. Also, we've got a ton of mobile apps you can find on Google Play or App Store. If you for example, just write British Council, you will find all the materials. And there is one I would like to show you, especially this is Learn English podcasts. So the whole series of podcasts you can have on your mobile phones, and the app is just great. You've got dozens of different podcasts you can listen on your phone. You can play them, you can download them. I always ask my students before the holiday period, if you're going on a trip by car somewhere, download a couple of podcasts, and as a last resort, when you're dying of boredom, start studying English. It can be something useful and fun. They're always laughing at it, and actually they are doing it, so they do have it with them. It doesn't matter that you don't have the internet, you can download them, and they are interesting, they are fun to listen. You always have the text, you can see it on your phone, and even in the phone version you do have exercise for each individual listening task. So it's a whole pack. You can really, really use it well. And finally, for speaking, because I was trying to cover all the parts, all the elements, reading, writing, listening, and now speaking. I love one thing, that Cambridge has its own YouTube channel. And on this YouTube channel, you can watch real exams conducted by Cambridge examiners. They are not staged. They are real candidates taking the test. You can see the stress in their eyes sometimes, and I always feel sorry for them a little bit that they are taking an exam and they are being filmed. But for your students, this is great because they can see how the exam really looks like. They can really see the interaction between the examiner and the candidate, and you can tell them this is exactly how it's going to be in your test. Because Cambridge exams are so standardized when it comes, for example, to speaking, that the examiners have the script. They have to follow the script. So what you see in the video is going to happen to you. It's taking off so much stress from your students. And when we talk about speaking, I love the fluency activities on the Teaching English website. So please check it out. There are plenty of ideas with Just a Minute, my all-time favorite. But this is a bit of your homework. So please go and have a look at it, ladies and gentlemen. So our websites all in one place. So British Council websites, Cambridge English org. Cambridge English org, ladies and gentlemen, this is the place where you can find a full description of all the Cambridge exams and sample exams for free to download in computer-based or paper-based format to your liking. Plus the Learn English and Learn English Teens British Council org websites with all the useful and fun materials you can use in your classes. Please do check them out. Please show them to your students. And this is it, ladies and gentlemen. I have managed to really finish on time. I'm a bit proud of myself, to be honest, about that, because I can talk and never finish. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you find it informative. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I see the chat, and maybe I can even answer some of the questions.
So, Piotr, I will keep you here with us for just one more minute because I know that we promised 11:30 and it is 11:30. I must say that all three of you, Bartosz, Basia, and you are masters of timing. You really are masters of timing. So congratulations. I will need to rethink my life and my timing usually. Okay. Let us wait 30 seconds because I know that, sometimes people write a little bit slower.
Sure.
And they also, there is this time lapse. So they hear us maybe 10, 15 seconds later than and if there are no questions, then I believe once they appear and after the conference, you have a question, then advantage.britishcouncil.pl. I understand that this is the place that we are directing people to. Okay, so Piotr, thank you very much. Thank you very much to the British Council for wonderful.
Just a second, because I'm reading on the chat that Sylvia has 2 questions.
Sylvia has 2 questions. Okay, so
sorry, so
let's wait. So anyway, while my thank yous, I will be continuing with my thank yous, and we will be. One question is: are we going to be given all 3 presentations? Sylvia, do you mean the slides? Because the slides, I don't know. I know that the recordings will be sent to you on Monday. But the slides, I don't think that we have talked about that. We haven't, Piotr, have we?
No, we haven't.
We have not. So I will need to discuss this with the British Council because that is something that I'm sorry, but I don't know the answer to. If there is Asia from the British Council, maybe she can answer this question. But Sylvia, the recordings will be there for sent to all the registered participants on Monday. So you will have the content anyway. And the second question, is there one general link for the upcoming webinars? You mean the Edunations webinars? You need to go to edunation.com.pl and there is a link to which is it's called Zapis na Webinaria, and this is one place that you can always. British Council says the presentations will be made available. All right, so this is good to know. Thank you very much, Julia. So what I need is before sending the email on Monday, I will be needing the presentations. Okay, so I will do that. Don't worry. Can we get the links? I don't know what the links are meant. Do you mean the links from Basia's? Do you mean the links from Basia's session, or if so, then I will make sure that the links are there in the email too. So many questions.
Right,
Okay.
they are popping up.
Yes. All right, so thank you very much. Wait for the email on Monday, probably sometime in the middle of the day, you will get it. And there will be the recordings, hopefully the slides and the links and some other information. So it will be a substantial email as for the size. All right, thank you very much, Piotr. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
Thank you.
And the rest of your weekend. I hope this is the end of your work.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So the weekend begins in a couple of moments. All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the day. Thank you for participating. Thank you for the questions and being interactive. And that's it from me. I'm logging off. Thank you.
And that's it from me too. Thank you very much on behalf of EduNation and the British Council. I would like to thank you very much for the participation. You have been wonderful, and so many people on Saturday joining us. That's just amazing. Amazing teachers in Poland and around the world, because I know that there is people from other countries with us too. Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.